And from what I've seen throughout the day, Granady has just been getting better and better as he plays. But he might meet his match in this match, I guess.
Yep.
Um, we're in warm up on map number 1, which is Bonga, which is the my map. Uh, and we have seen Epos perform on this map previously in other games. I mean, having said that, he's performed on every single map, so we'll see how they go. Bozbez and Epos are wearing the same skin, the Dolphin Royale skin, so we'll have to tell
Yep.
them apart with their name tags.
That
But
will not get at all confusing, I am sure.
no, no, it's definitely not going to worry us, and we're definitely not going to make mistakes, isn't it? Of course, we will have our uh, field reporter on duty.
The
Uh,
OC this time round.
yeah. What
Keep
are
an
we
eye
going
on
to
what
call
is
him,
going on in
Pastor?
the other three. That's a good question. Call him Chris Kamara.
Cammy.
Yeah, there you go. Cammy.
Cammy. And the race is starting. This is the
Yep.
last one of the day. Leave everything out on the table because you can't change it until you come back tomorrow. We're into Bongo round 1. It is Granady who is taking an early lead into the dirt. All 3 players following behind. No early mistakes. Epos in that second spot, hand in hand with Boz. It's a bit wide from Granady. He loses a bit of speed. All 4 players are within the same car, heading into the red plastic now. Who carries more speed? Epos has a good line, very tight. Boz is a little bit in front now. All 4 players still hand in hand. Boz has made a slight mistake and has dropped down to 4. He's 2 tenths behind. Epos is leading the pack in front. Going into this red plastic section now, he's followed by the 2 professional players behind him. Epos is holding strong, cuts across the dirt, truing that jump. Granady, smooth steering through the dirt, is trying to catch up, but he has a bit of an awkward transition down onto the black platform. Complex pushes that drift, loses a bit of grip, has good speed, but Epos is going to take round 1.
Good start for Epos there. Unfortunate mistake from Boz, but yeah, that is a very strong first time coming out of doors for Epos.
That round gets me excited for the rest of the
Yeah,
match.
this is going to be a great match. It's just warming up now.
So an early lead for Epos, which he has taken pretty much in every match he has played thus far. Can
Yeah.
he maintain it?
Ooh,
Ooh.
Complex ends up on the little dirt bounty castle there and turns in too early. So it is Granady versus Epos here. Wheel versus controller versus mouse. We have all the different input devices on display here.
They're on the same line.
And yeah, these two are on rails glued together. There's not a single difference between them. Switching back and forth constantly, but you'd have to say that looks slightly better for Epos, maybe?
Ooh, a bit more inside for Granady.
Yeah, but does Granady have more speed through here?
Epos takes that wide line,
This is
gets good
so
speed. It's
tight.
so
Who's going to win?
close.
That's Epos
Oh
by
my
7
God.
thousandths.
Wow. They must feel good to win for Epos. That's 2 round wins to kick it off, and he has a 10-point lead on Granady in second. That is a very good start to the match for Epos on a map that is strong for him. It is his map pick. He looks to continue that form into the second half of this map now. And he clips on the inside.
Oh, that's a
Granady
big
does,
mistake.
as Complex did before him in the previous round. It is Grenady's turn now, and Boz has taken the role of Epos ahead of the peloton. And Complex is in a wumbo sandwich at the moment, which he gets
Wumbo dolphin sandwich.
thrown out of. And look at that, Epos and Boz. It's a procession, first and second,
Flying
into
1-2
the dirt
here.
drop down, back up, and as long as they keep it clean, it should be first and second for them. But you have to say they're probably going to fight each other for this first spot. Epos goes for that wide drift setup, which he so commonly does, and it gains him the win again. And 0.8 flats. The consistency is incredible.
So, despite the stronger opponents than previous matches, and you'd have to say rounds are significantly closer, but Epos once again opens the scoring with 3 back-to-back wins on Bonga, and the other 3 are all on 13 points. We're 3 rounds in, and Epos has a 17-point lead over the competition, with more than double the points of anyone else.
For the moment, it's unlucky number 13.
Yeah,
Else.
it seems like it. Is everyone going to make
Early
it up this dirt
mistakes.
uphill? It's very easy to go close, and Boz left about 2 pixels between himself and the wall. The super wide resolution he plays on. Working out well there. And it's all still neck and neck. Complex back a little bit. Maybe Boz too. No, Boz seems to be right back in it here. Let's hop on board with Granady. Let's see how it's going. He has left and he clips the wall on the outside. That is a potentially... not potentially. That is a massive mistake for him. Now, Boz versus Complex for second position as Epos continues his winning streak. And a difference of 13 thousandths. He's driven a 0.6. That's a pretty filthy time. That is 1/10 off like the offline world record before seeding.
That's a clean
the
sweep.
Online world record even.
4 wins, 3.8, 1.6, 40 points. Couldn't have been a better start for Epos. And I just, before we get into the next map, I'm just in awe of what we're currently seeing. And
yeah,
the
form Epos has showed recently, he's improved so much. During BIPL, which took place in November last year, it was seen as a battle between Wizzy and Boz for the win, and although Epos couldn't win it, losing out to Boz, he did manage to sneak himself into a surprisingly impressive second place. And then, again, it was the same story in the Pro Cup that took place in April, except this time, Epos went and won the whole thing. Possibly the two of the 3 best players in British Isles outside of Pac are in this match together, and watching them scrap is always a joy. But Epos is looking so strong on these tracks.
He is looking scary, and I mean, like he's not just playing against anyone. This is like Complex has just come off an overall win in Challenger League. You know, Granady has had one of the seasons with Big, and Boz is for so long been such a staple of competitive British and Irish Trackmania, and Epos is just on another level today and throughout this event really. Boz has a bit of a shaky start here on this second map, which is Everglades by Mellow, but the 3 in front are all together. Complex gets a very inside approach onto the grass. He'll probably have a bit more speed than the other 2 now. He does catch up back to Epos. This drift has been quite important for everyone. Complex has to release a little bit. Epos with an inside line catches up to Granady and down into the plastic. Now, heading out, they have to go tight and then wide on this drift, and they push it as far as they can. Epos, what a drift from him. He takes that first spot from Granady, heading down into the end of the map over the plastic, and he's still ahead. Complex is trying to catch up, but makes a bit of a mistake. Epos takes first place. Granady second, Complex third, and Boz, with that early mistake, gets fourth.
Only a 10th gap between Epos and Granady, but Epos is still undefeated. 5 rounds in, 50 points. Now, starting off round number 2 on Everglades. It is looking like a slightly slow start for the Dolphin boys at the back, but you'd trust them to be able to catch up despite maybe losing a 10th there. Boz goes a little wider than he would have liked, and that forces him to fall back behind the top 3, but it's still open for anyone to go and win this. Hop on board with Complex, and you see this fight between Granady and Epos. It's incredible. Complex gets some airtime, that's going to lose him in position to Boz. And Epos has gone off into the sunset during that whole... No! He clips! Epos makes a mistake. That is a huge, huge error. And his winning streak finally ends with a 4th place after that mistake. But he was on for a 2/10 lead before then.
After 5 round wins in a row, he has to take one mistake, but I mean, he's already built up a gap.
Yeah. He proves he is actually human, which I was starting to doubt. But he looks to be back on form here. That has not got to him in the slightest. And he is leading by about 2 tenths before the map's even started. It's close scrap for second here between Boz and Granady. Complex slightly further back. Boz looking slightly shaky.
And as so often we've seen with matches where Epos is a contender, the battle for second is going to be quite important here.
Yeah.
And for the moment, it is Granady who is leading that fight, and he continues to do so in this round, getting that second spot, and that is a 0.6 from Epos to take first. It's just an incredible performance, one of the best performances I think I've ever seen in competitive Trackmania that Epos is currently doing, and it's only map 2.
7 rounds, 6 wins. Yeah, you don't see something like that often. Absolutely not. Still a tight battle behind, though. Only 10 points separate Complex and Granady before the massive gap. Oh, and Boz does not do that corner how he would have wanted. Meaning it is
definitely has a fight on his hands. He needs to avoid making those mistakes. The pressure is on because all of these drivers can drive some very good times. Complex has looked a little shakier on this map maybe than the other 3, but he does catch up to the front 2. Going into the back end of the map, Epos gets a wide setup, good speed, but Complex maintains first place.
Granady looked like he fell back a little bit there, dropping down into third here. And Complex just beats out Epos to pick up its first win of the game. And a very important 10 points for Complex. It pulls him up to third in the lobby ahead of Boz and gets him within another... within only 4 points of... my brain's just broken. I apologise. I've been chatting here for about 4 hours now. Yeah. And I'm trying my best, but my brain has turned to mush, it would seem. And talking of people whose brains have clearly turned to mush, Cammy, how are the other matches looking?
Unnecessary. In the lower bracket in the spam match, he is running away with it. He leads by 32 points.
Oh my god!
In his match on 72 points. All of our matches have now gone through to the third map. I think yours might be a tiny bit delayed. But yeah, so Spam leads by 32 points in that lower bracket match over on Valence channel. In the other upper bracket match on the mainstream, Massa and Panda are in a tight fight for first place. In that one, Massa leads Panda by 4 points there, with Mime on 43 points just behind, and Stuffs, a shock in last place in that match at the moment, has fallen back 10 points behind Mime, 20 points behind the leader. So we will be keeping an eye on that one. In the other lower bracket match, Ender is dominating. He leads by 20 points ahead of Jussie and Javas, with the Crows just a little bit further behind them.
Yeah. And there may be a surprise drop down to the lower bracket so early on, but you know, we've seen runs made from the lower bracket before. That'll be something that our 4 players in this match will be looking to avoid as best they can. Epos has made a great start on his quest to do so. He's on a very nice number of points, but not such a good start in this round, as Granady is leading ahead of Complex. Our Dolphin boys are in third and fourth. Granady has an awkward landing, loses quite a bit of speed.
And Epos carries so much speed through that. And our Dolphin boys gone from third and fourth into first and second briefly there, but it's all still very close here. Huge amount of this will come down to this slide. Granady didn't get the most booster there, so it's carrying limited speed, but Complex looks like he got it really well. And this outside dirt is so decisive, and the power of a wheel comes through, and what? Oh, it almost looked like he was going to do a wildy line there,
speed,
but it didn't come together. Boz has speed, could this be enough?
Oh
my god! Boz won! How did Boz win that round? That was incredible.
Sorry, not OC. OC is not playing. Epos had quite an awkward last jump, which meant that he had very little speed going towards the end. 75 points for Epos ahead of Granady and Boz, who are both on 45 and Complex on 42. And this is what I was saying. This fight for second could prove to be very important. That's an early mistake from Boz.
An early mistake from Epos.
Oh. And they have
and
to
an
be
early mistake from
consistent.
Granady. Only Complex is actually continuing this round. With his eyes open, it would seem. But everything is possible here. I mean, we got this massive gap between Boz and Epos. They somehow made the exact same level of mistake here, so right next to each other.
I'm expecting... Oh, Granady has made further mistakes, or I think he made one in a pivotal moment. Boz has taken a bit of a lead ahead of Epos. None of them are going for that no-slide line. It seems like Boz has gained more speed than Epos going towards the end. Does Complex make it through the semi-identity well? Yes, he does. He's going to take 10 points. Whoa, that was close for Boz. Both of them make it through the finish. And now does Granady have time to finish? He's got 6 seconds as he heads up the hill.
It's going to be tight.
3.
It's going to be so tight. I think he does.
1. Wow.
And he does it by, I think that would be 0.7. He makes it in by, which might not sound impressive, but it gets him another 3 points. And look at this graph for second. It's 52, 51, 48. 4 points between all of them. And that was an early mistake from Boz there. That will throw him completely out of this round, unfortunately. Do they all survive the awkward transition? They do not. Granady goes a little bit too low there. And that means it turns into a 2-horse race between Epos and Complex. It's a 2/10 advantage for Epos right now, but this is a spicy map, so anything can happen. Ooh, Complex does not get that clean, and that gives a very real chance here to Boz to potentially catch him, as I may have got a little overexcited there. I did not realise quite how big the gap was. As this now looks very, very comfortable for Epos in first, which my camera refuses to switch to. There we go, and a new best time from Epos of 58.5. That is some very good times coming out here in this match, considering the difficulty of this match. Map. And
I'd like to see the percentage of rounds that Epos has won at the end of this match, because it's got to be somewhere around 70% or close to that at least. Now Boz makes it through this start safely. Complex has had a bit of a slowdown initially, is in 4th place now. The awkward transition, Granady messed it up twice, but he gets it this time. Slower, admittedly, to the players around him. Epos had to adjust that drift, but maintains his first position. And Boz is trying to follow in his footsteps, but has a bit of a slower drift now. Gets a good angle through the grass, and going up this being quite important to get enough booster. Epos gets it very well. Complex decently too, but is being caught up by Granady. And Boz is right in the fight as well as we go into the end. Are we going to see any no sliders? Granady does. That means he's going to have good speed. Can he catch up to the first 2 players? As we go in to this end, they're all together. Granady has good speed. Jumps more to the left. Epos and Complex still in it. Who makes it first? Granady does, ahead of Epos and Complex. And what a time and what a round.
That was an incredible final sector as such from Granady. After getting that no slide, he just carried the speed perfectly and nailed every single jump to go as low as possible. And yeah, Granady abusing his wheel a little bit there to pick up a round win at the end of that map. Before we switch on to Danger, we know how risky this map can be. We've seen it in previous rounds that players struggle on this one, as Complex in warm-up doesn't even make it past first corner. But we have 4 absolute top quality players here, so we might get to see this map driven a little cleaner now. Cammy, how's it going?
It's going. We go into warm up in all the 3 matches are currently all in warm up for the 5th map. We're map ahead of you guys. You guys are going to the 4th?
Fourth
Yeah.
map. Are you?
Yeah, we're
Fourth
going
map,
to the
eh?
5th. Yeah, we're a map ahead. Currently, Spam once again is still running away with that match. He's on 105 points. Funnily enough, the 3 behind him are on 57, 56, and 55 points, respectively, between Jan, Speedself, and Lumar. So that'll be a very, very tight match once Spam makes his exit, probably within the next 3 rounds or so. In the upper bracket match, Panda and Massa are once again just going punch for punch. Massa leads him by 3 points. Oh my
Oh,
god, wait, Mime has 73 as well. Yeah, so 6 points spread the top 3 of Massa, Panda, and Mime in that match, with Stuffs all the way behind on 48 points, which
Oh.
honestly, for Stuffs, we were expecting a lot more
yeah.
from in this competition. He might be making an exit from the upper bracket in that match. In the
Oh,
last lower
bozbez
bracket
out.
match, Ender has slowed down considerably. Crows and Yavas are even on points on 68 points behind his 77. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks for
Cheers,
that,
Kai.
Chris. And yeah, I've talked over quite a chaotic start of a round. I talked about how this map is one of the more difficult ones, and how it'd be nice if we could start seeing some more consistent rounds, but that is not what we've been greeted with here. Mistakes from 3 out of 4 people, but of course, if one person isn't going to make a mistake, that would be Epos. And he seems
is.
on to go and pick up another round win. Yeah, as Granady versus Complex could be a close battle for second here. It's all going to come down to this final drift. Did Epos make it for Finn? Yep. All 3 of them too. And so
It really
Epos
is.
extends that lead by
The
another
one
4
constant
points.
that we have in this game is Epos in first, and it's almost, a given that he will be in that first spot, and everybody's kind of driving for second place at some point. But that second place is extremely important. Is that Boz making a mistake again?
Yep, it is.
And that
Going
could
into
be
the outside
really,
wall on that dirt.
yeah, crucial. There's only 7 points between second and fourth, and currently Boz is in that fourth spot. He needs to try
but
and
he's
keep
back.
himself in contention. He is back because Granady has made a mistake as well, but he's not gaining enough, unfortunately, to be in contention for any of those top spots. It's a 2-horse race at the front between Complex and Epos. Epos currently leading the charge, goes a little bit wide in that entry, but gathers it well on the uphill at the drift. Complex gets some good speed as well, but he's not really catching up to Epos as they go up onto the concrete, and Granady is still at a similar distance in third spot. Oz is pushing to catch up to the pack, but it's not really getting there at the moment.
Ooh, Complex
Complex is
is
a
not
bit
on his
wide.
favourite line.
And he still gets a decent enough drift to stay ahead of
Yeah.
Granady, get that second spot behind Epos, and Boz has to settle for fourth.
Epos now potentially only 2 rounds away from closing up this match on map 4. Which is absolutely nuts. 2 more back-to-back wins for the beatboxer from Brighton. And Complex takes the opportunity to tap the outside there as Boz survives. Hopefully Boz can stay a little closer and challenge Granady this time round. Granady, who does not get the entry onto the ice, he ever won't. Taking a bit of snow there. And this is so hard to correct given the no grip that you have over it.
Complex got
And-
incredible speed.
Yeah, Complex after early tap is only a 10th and a half off the lead. How on earth does he manage this as he chases down Boz here? He's pushing every line to the absolute maximum that he can. But unfortunately he picks up a little bit of the inside dirt there, holding him back, but this is still very open. Scrap between Epos and Granady at the back. But we're going to stay on board with this for the time being.
Ooh. Bit of a
Boz
wide line
may have
for
got
Boz.
a slight... Oh, no slide for Complex. And crash from
Epos.
Boz. And Epos wins!
What?
This... Epos wins a match when he wasn't even invited to. What on earth was that? He was half a second down. And Complex and Boz both fail their final drift and just parts away for Epos to come through and pick up another win. And he's in finalists now. He's won 3 out of 4 rounds on this map. One more, and he closed out this match before we even get onto map 5.
And
Slow
Boz
start
at the
for
back
Boz.
is continuing
Complex, not
struggling,
looking
yeah.
great. It looks like it'll be down to Granady to try and deny Epos such an early victory. Complex. Making a little mistake there. Dropping behind now. Down board of Boz. Granady still has the lead, so it's not job done yet for Epos. But you'd have to say it soon.
It's going to need a good end if he wants to get that first spot.
Yeah.
Granady is holding strong, but Epos has good speed into that drift.
Oh, this is neck and neck here.
It's super important. Granady has more speed, but this drift, we've seen it cause some issues before. Epos goes a little bit wide. It looks like it's going to be Granady unless any mistakes. And Epos,
There's not, and Granady picks up a very important 10 points in his battle with Complex. And, will he? It's going to be tight. 1 second left, and he does by 0.7. That is very lucky for Complex there. He got away with that. Otherwise, I would have put him behind Granady overall and dropped him down third in the match. We go on now to think twice.
That's something that Epos is going to have to avoid doing. Just get to the finish, get in first spot, and get this match over with. We've seen him struggle previously to close out this finalist mode. Just an inside line there from Epos. Interesting.
Do we reckon Epos knows that he's in finalist? Boz and Epos both play in very similar ways by completely disabling the HUD for the majority of the match. Now, I know Boz will basically never turn it back on. It's looked like
Epos turns it back on.
Epos turns it back on.
Yeah,
fair enough.
after
So
rounds,
you'd imagine that he knows he's in finalist.
What are we looking at in the other games, Kenny?
So once again, we're live in one of them, but into our 6th map now, I think, in these matches. If you guys are going into the 5th, and Spam is on finalist mode. He has 34 points between him and the next person in finalist mode, so he is definitely going to win that one. Massa has taken a lead over Panda. He looks promising for that one, while Panda and Mime are just 3 points apart. Stuffs is 20 points behind them. It's not looking good for Stuffs. I don't think Stuffs will be going through in that match. And then in the other lower bracket match, Crows has taken a 4-point lead over Yavas with Ender on 105. So I fancy Ender to win that one. Scratch that. Crows now has a 7-point lead over Yavas, so we're looking good. Crows is looking good. Come on, lad, let's go. Back to you in the studio, boys.
Right, Epos' second opportunity now to try and close out this finalist. Moving on to a new map, can throw people, but this is a map where, like many, we've seen a lot of mistakes during this tournament. These maps are not easy at all. No one hits for CP, which is an improvement on other matches we've seen. Boz dropping a little behind the pack now. It's Complex settled in third, and once again, it looks like Granady trying to deny Epos, but can he do it? Epos pushes so far there.
He's going to get good speed here.
Yep, he's going to have so much speed coming out of this. He just needs to hold it together now. Make it through this drift, and it's looking pretty good, but Complex is a bit more speed. I don't think it'll be enough, though.
Let's go.
And Epos makes his way.
Oh my god.
Oh, and by 600ths, Epos in an unbelievably dominant display makes it onto day 2, makes it into the winner bracket final.
An incredible performance.
Yeah, cementing why he is considered a favourite of his competition.
I mean, after that performance, I think he is the favourite.
Yeah.
It's just extremely impressive.
You'd have to say so. That is a bit of redemption for last time he was in Gamax, taking part in Gamax 2, where he finished top 12, which, despite being a solid result, isn't quite what he was looking for. And he's definitely come back. He's come back so much stronger. You can tell the mental is so much better now for him, as he was able to close that out with... It only took him 2 rounds to close out finalist, which is absolutely fair. We now have 3 people left in the match. Boz, 10 points behind. Again, down but not out.
What a drift from Granady.
But Granady is looking good to pick up a round win here. And that moves Granady 1 point in front of Complex on the overall standings. It will be 96 versus 95 versus Boz on 79. We have 2 more rounds on this, and Grenady's looked good on this track, so I'll back him to pick up a few more points.
Yeah, and I think what's going to be important to look at in this match is what the next map actually is. Because it could be quite important for who takes an advantage in this map. Obviously, Boz has to try and catch up a little bit. It's not looking like he's going to be able to do so in this round. He's fallen a bit behind the front two. Granady is leading again, closely followed by Complex. Complex gets really good speed out of that grass uphill and into this bobsleigh transition is going to take that first spot from the German, from Big. He's going to fight back now with a really great transition onto the...
Oh, I picked up some water!
Mistake. It's a mistake from Complex, and he has the full respawn, which means that Boz can move up to second place. He's not really in striking distance to catch up on Granady, except if there's a mistake, and it doesn't look like there is going to be one. A really nice drift to close it out. They both make it through the finish nicely. That's 10 points and 6 points to Granady and Boz, and then Complex will come home in a third spot. It's going to make for an interesting finale to who stays in this upper bracket and who gets dropped down into the lower bracket. As we head into what I believe to be the final round on Think Twice. Boz again has a bit of a slower start. Lost a bit of time to the front two. Complex and Granady in formation are progressing through the map. Complex again, that's another mistake. And this can be really crucial at this point in the match when you're around that 100-point mark. Making 2 mistakes like that can seriously affect your chances of making it through. Granady has been looking like taking a leaf out of Epos's book, and it looks very consistent. Consistent second places behind Epos, and now that he's out of the match, he's taking these first spots, and it is sending him towards that finalist mode. If he wins this round, he'll only need another round basically to get the finalist. Boz has to do a bit of a release, but he's got at least 9 seconds ahead of Complex, so he can take that second spot convincingly. And it's all sharpening up towards the end of this game.
Indeed. This battle looks a little less close than it did at one point, since Epos has run away with the lead and exited the match. Granady has looked fairly dominant. I think that's 3 round wins from 3. But it is, of course, time to head over to Cami. How are the other matches looking? Do we know who Epos will be facing off against in the winner bracket final tomorrow?
Bonjour. No, we do not
We
yet.
do not.
Massa isn't finalist, but Panda's on 118, Mime's on 110, and Stuffs has turned it around. He's on 100, so he's within striking distance now of at least one of the players. I will still fancy Massa to go through first in this match, but Stuffs has got himself back within striking distance, so we'll have to see how that one develops. In the lower bracket matches, first place has been decided in both. Spam obviously taking first place in that one. It's very close behind him though, just a 12-point spread between second and fourth in that one, as nobody else is on finalist mode. And then in the other lower bracket match, Ender has won with a Crows is on 116 points, so no matter if he comes last he won't get finalist, which is the position he's currently in.
Yes, he will.
But Yavas is on 107.
10-6-4.
Yavas actually had a DNF. This could be a lot closer, but Yavas didn't make the finish on one round, which has given Across a little bit of breathing room, but he still does need to look at closing it out. It is on the map that Across failed to close out against Mime earlier, so hopefully that is not in the back of his head. And yeah, we'll see how it develops. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you.
It's not so high-pitched, thank you. Anyway, right. First round here on Bonga, on the second rotation of maps. I believe this was Epos's map pick, something that now seems fairly pointless with him gone. But this was a map that Boz looked more comfortable on.
Yeah.
So if he's going to have an opportunity to try and make it back into this match and cause an upset of the scale that Spammy did during the last game, now is the time to do it.
He's looking good to do so. He's currently
Trying
fighting with
it.
Granady for that first spot. It's going to come down to the last drift. Takes that wider line. He's probably going to have more speed to Granady, but Granady maintains that first position earlier
Just
down
about.
the hill.
Granady moves
400s.
himself into finalist, and 4-round wins of a bounce for Granady, and you get the feeling this is a very tough situation for either Complex or Boz to stop. As we said towards the beginning of this cast, many hours ago, the issue with the TMGL players is the longer they make it in the competition, the further they go, the stronger they get. As they learn the maps more. And I think we're starting to see that now from one of them. Spam went from almost going into the lower bracket in round 1 against Roy and Epos to now being comfortably into the second day, it sounds. And Granady here has picked up the pieces left behind by Epos and has gone on a fairly dominant winning streak. Boz gets a no slide. That is one of the two out the way for Granady. There's only Complex denying him right now. But Complex continues to do so, and Granady clips the wall on the outside, so you get the feeling this is a round 4 Complex here. Which is very important. Complex will basically need to win 3 rounds in a row.
Good time.
But if he wants to try and make it through in the winner bracket, that is how you do it.
Small info: Ender and a Crows have both closed out that lower bracket match.
Let's go.
So we will see a Crows move on alongside Ender. Yavas and Jussi have been eliminated from the competition. Panda managed to pip Massa just about in the upper bracket match, so Massa's still on a finalist, and we're actually going to have a double finalist for third place in that one, and Stuffs can get finalist himself with a round win, so it could be a triple finalist. And then
that sounds
Jan,
exciting.
yeah, the other match is quite close, but we won't get on to that. You're back casting. Go.
Yep.
Yeah, Granady looking to close it out as soon as possible, but one man stands in his way. One man and his mouse fighting to stay in this upper bracket, putting up a valiant effort, cuts down into this jump earlier than Granady does, fighting up the hill now. Which is stronger, the mouse or the wheel? They both get a good entry. Complex even is catching up, but Granady still has a bit of an advantage, and it looks like he's going to carry that towards the end. Very close to the outside, but it looks like Granady is going to qualify in the winner bracket for day 2. A valiant performance behind the king that was Epos. Granady is the prince, and Complex and bozbez have to drop down to the lower bracket. But what a match we just saw.
Yeah, absolutely incredible game there. Epos showing off quite how good he is, and Granady coming on so strong in the second half of that game. Despite being behind Complex for much of the match, he manages to pick up the winner anyhow.